and it's not acceptable. Google has zero tolerance for counterfeit. It harms our users, it harms our advertisers, and it harms Google to the extent that there's any misconception that Google may benefit from advertisers who are counterfeiters. This is simply false. Obviously, to the extent our users and our advertisers are harmed, we're harmed. But more practically, counterfeiters are not exactly your ideal customers. They provide false information. They provide stolen credit cards, not exactly people who you're going to get payment from. In addition, we're required to devote a lot of resources to combating counterfeit, both in terms of personnel, in terms of developing tools to combat counterfeit. So it really is a drain in a lot of different ways. This is our actual complaint form. And an important thing to note about this complaint process and this form is that you don't have to be a rights holder to submit a complaint. Anyone can submit a complaint. So if you see a counterfeit site and has nothing to do with your brand and it appears in AdWords, then submit a complaint and we will follow up on it. The next two slides I'm going to skip. We've been encouraged to keep our introductory comments brief, so I'll touch upon some of these points in the dialogue. This last slide, it contains all the, I'm sorry, this is actually the right slide. This last slide contains all the relevant links and contact information for both our trademark policy and our counterfeit policy, and it also includes the link to our counterfeit complaint form. I'm not sure if this presentation will be distributed after the Congress, hopefully so the attendees have access to this information. Just in closing, we've received a lot of positive feedback from major brand owners in connection with how effective this program is. Obviously, counterfeiters are a tricky bunch, so these efforts are ongoing, and it's definitely an area where we want to collaborate with brand owners. There really is a shared interest here, and part of that is just brand owners submitting complaints. The more complaints that we have on file, the more information that we have that helps us combat counterfeit, and any other ideas, of course, are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. As a good representative of the internet industry, I have also a presentation. So, thank you very much, Bruce, for your introduction. My name is Benoît Tabaka. I'm in charge of the legal and governmental affairs for Prime Minister. Prime Minister is not an infringement of the Prime Minister name. I'm not sure. And Prime Minister is a French company. Has been created 10 years ago, and it's a marketplace business model. And Prime Minister has been bought now 6 months ago by Rakuten. Rakuten is the main e-commerce website in Japan. They have around between 13 and 40 market share in e-commerce market in Japan, so it's a very huge company. And they have just launched in October a joint venture with Baidu in China. And one of my jobs now in Prime Minister is not only to be in charge of legal affairs in France and Europe, it's also in charge of all anti-counterfeiting policy for Rakuten. So, as this session is focused on partnership and sharing, I decided to share with you my French accent. Welcome in Paris. And to explain something. So, first, Rakuten, one of the largest internet services company in Japan. As you can see, Rakuten have many websites in Japan, Taiwan, China. Rakuten has bought Prime Minister in June and bought Buy.com in May. Buy.com in charge of the expansion of Rakuten in US, and Prime Minister is in charge of the expansion of Rakuten in Europe. And currently, Prime Minister targets the French, the Spanish, and the English markets. But we will open the German website at the end of this year, and we should open a new website in Europe and mainly in the East Europe at the beginning of the next year. As you know, counterfeiting and marketplace, internet marketplace, is very big topic, a very hot topic with many litigations. And it's clear that the classical speech that you could heard in many conferences is that yes, counterfeiting is very a big problem. And we have not the products between our hands. I'm sorry. And we are not the seller. We are not the seller of the products. So we could treat the notification. We could apply the notice and take down principle and be sure that if you notice any content, we will delete it. Yes, it's a classical speech from the internet companies, but it's not our speech. Since from now 5 years, Price Minister has developed a new approach. It's based on the, our own responsibility. I think that our own responsibility is to detect before the publication any illegal or harmful content or behavior. That is to say that we have decided to have a proactive and preventive measures to detect, to analyze our website and to detect some illegal content, for example, counterfeiting, but also all kind of illegal content that a seller could propose. How it works? It's very simple. First step, we will analyze the profile of the seller. For example, a private seller with 10 mobile phones, with 15 perfumes, for us is suspicious. So we will ask to the private seller how he could have this kind of product. Or a private seller could have 10 iPhone, 10 iPad. Is not normal for us. So we will ask some information. And we will apply the precaution principle. That is to say that if the account of the seller is detected, its account will be suspended. And if he don't give any information about the product and to prove that the product is genuine, its account will not be reopened. Second step is the content. That is to say that between all non-suspicious profiles, we will analyze the content of the offer. For example, to detect if someone wants to propose a product which something abnormal. For example, someone who wants to offer and Nokia mobile phone with no GPS. The last Nokia mobile phone have a GPS. So for us, no GPS in the content of the offer is a suspicious keyword. And third, if we have no detection, content and offers will be published. To improve our anti-counterfeiting policy, Price Minister has developed several partnerships. The main partnership is with Right Honors. We have concluded some agreements, informal agreements with Right Honors to have some training of our team to detect counterfeiting products on our website. These trainings could be training about the pictures of the product, to detect on a picture a fake product, to detect some suspicious profile, etc. Second kind of partnership is with French Customs, and mainly with the team of Luc. And we have some sharing knowledge about sellers, about new networks, about new products, and to improve our mutual knowledge between Price Minister and French Customs. We have also signed a charter with the Right Honors under the supervision of the French Economy Minister in December. It was the first time in Europe that internet company and Right Honors signed something about the fight against counterfeiting. I think it was a very good first step in the fight against counterfeiting. We have signed in March a charter with French Customs to formalize our partnership with Customs. And we prepare the European MOU, and I could announce that we have reached a final draft of the MOU. in January, at the beginning of January this year, and this MOU should be signed in April, I think, I hope, in Brussels. So we have many kind of partnership and many kind of formalization of their partnership. And regarding Rakuten, for your information, Prime Minister policy is a part now of the Rakuten policy. The word in the Rakuten is globalization of the fight against counterfeiting. And Rakuten has signed on September a MOU with Louis Vuitton, with the help of Nathalie, about the fight against counterfeiting. This MOU has been signed in the Louis Vuitton shop in Champs-Élysées with Hiroshi Mikitani, is the CEO of Rakuten. And also, for your information, Rakuten has launched in October a new marketplace in China, a joint venture with Baidu. And I quote the press release, very interesting because in this press release, distributed to English, Japanese, Chinese press and medias, it's clear that the Rakuten Group has decided to use the Prime Minister tools and the Prime Minister approach for all the marketplace of Rakuten. So our preventive and proactive approach will become the principle for all Rakuten websites in the world, and it's a new way of partnership for the fight against counterfeiting. Thank you.